Even though I'm a life coach myself, doesn't mean that I don't also get coaching myself. That's why I wanted to document the journey of all of the learnings that I get from the coaching sessions I get with my coach. Right now, I'm coaching with the one, the only Brig Johnson, the queen of demystifying the marginalized brain. So I wanted to use this as an opportunity to not only share what I'm learning, but hopefully to inspire your own journey through all the shit that I learn in the sessions I have with my own coach. So let's dive into it. There's a lot of things that I struggle with when it comes to my business. I have ADHD. The more I learn about my ADHD, the more I understand just how difficult my executive order skills are, which means sometimes I have an issue prioritizing. I also am struggling with the fact that my entire career, I've had an entire team to help me. One of the team players that have helped me throughout my career is a project manager. And so I think in my own business, I'm struggling to figure out, to see the big picture. There's a reason why project management is a job in itself, and it's not my forte. I think that it gets in the way of my business because I can only see the week ahead of me rather than how everything connects to the big picture. Another thing that gets in the way of my business is my scarcity mindset, which is what I like to call my poor girl mentality. Because for most of my adult life, I was a poor girl. And whenever I act from that poor girl mentality, what I'm really doing is just acting from scarcity. A lot of I don't want to have this just in case. Rather than making confident decisions, instead, I'm thinking about everything that can go wrong and trying to plan ahead for those things that could go wrong so that I'm safe the whole time, which is crazy, right? And these were all of the problems that I told Brig on today's coaching call. And I think the biggest question that really stumped me was when she said, what if all of that stuff that you said was a problem wasn't a problem at all? And the first thing I thought was if it wasn't a problem, I'd probably be a lot more proud of the work that I've already done so far. And the more we deep dived into it, the more I realized the only reason why all of that stuff is a problem for me is because I'm using it to make it mean that I'm not doing enough. I'm not performing up to my potential, saying that I'm not good enough. Nothing I've done so far matters, or it's not making as big of an impact as I want it to make. And therefore, it's not good enough. And what that really is just questioning and doubting my own self-worth. Sound familiar? I'm guessing it does because it's something that I end up coaching almost every single one of my clients on too. One of the things that Brig showed me in the coaching session is what I'm trying to do is before I can do well in my business, I need to solve for all the things that are bothering me. My problems with organization, my problems with big picture thinking, my poor girl scarcity mindset. And what Brig was trying to teach me was that I'm acting as if I need to cut those off so that I don't have to climb uphill with all of that weight dragging me down. But the interesting thing that she told me was that what if I didn't have to cut off that weight? What if I didn't make myself feel like I needed to work so hard to cut all of that baggage? Because what if it's not baggage in the first place? And what she was really getting at is that I spend so much time trying to fight my inner voice. So what does that look like in my head? Basically, I spend so much time not only trying to fix things that might not even need fixing, but also I spend so much time fighting my own beliefs, fighting with my inner voice, right? To convince it of otherwise. No, you're actually organized. No, you can see the big picture. Oh, you're not a poor girl anymore. And yeah, while yes, that's one way to solve the problem, what Brig was saying was, what if I used it as a partner instead of somebody I needed to fight with? If I didn't make any of these things a problem, I'd probably spend a lot more time feeling proud of everything that I've done. I probably would see the fact that I actually am an organized person. And you know what? All I ever really do talk about is my big picture dreams for the business. So maybe I'm not as disconnected as I actually think. And when it comes to my poor girl mentality, what if I just understood that that's something that is really deep seated inside of me? And what if I didn't actually need to fix any of these things? What if those things are all part of who I am? Yes, I am human, and yes, I do have ADHD. Maybe I'm not as organized as I want to be, but I am a pretty organized person, and I should give myself credit for that. Maybe I don't have to fight myself so much. But let me put that into context for you so you get where I'm going. I had to really work to become the kind of person who works out on a semi-regular basis, which really just means that when I work out, that entire time, I'm like, oh God, you should just stop. God, this is the worst. Just end it now. But what's interesting is that I start to kind of change the voice from from being like, give up, give up, give up, to, you know what? It's okay if you give up. What you're doing now is still more than you did yesterday. No one will know if you stop. Who cares? At least you started. You don't have to finish. And what Brig told me about was the difference between, in our minds, we have the protector and the nurturer. The protector is the person that's like basically bullying you into doing something. It's the voice in your head that says, this isn't good enough, you need to try harder, keep going, keep going. But the nurturer is like, no, it's okay. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So when I'm working out and I hear that voice that tells me to give up because it's okay, I can just give up, I really start to question like, okay, I just need to convince myself that I actually don't want to give up. And I spend all of this time and energy trying to convince myself that the truth is I don't want to give up. I do want to finish this workout. But the thing that Brig was trying to tell me is, what if I don't have to convince that person? What if it was part of the journey? What if instead of trying to fight with that inner voice, I partnered with it instead? For me, it really drove home the idea that even though I'm scared, I'm gonna do it anyway. We've heard that so much out there on social media and motivational posters, but what does that really mean? In my coaching session, it made me realize how much I let my inner voice run my life and make me scared. It makes me scared to show up, and that's the resistance I'm working against every single day when I'm building my business. Another thing that we talked about in my coaching session was my perfectionism, that I'm actually way more afraid of people not seeing my work as excellent than I am of failing at building my business. I've never actually stopped to think about why it's such an issue if somebody doesn't see me and my work ethic as excellent, as amazing, the best. And what I realized in this coaching session is that because I spent so much of my youth as what I think of as a complete fuck up, I think what I'm trying to prove with making people see me as like, oh, Tawny never puts out anything other than A+ work. I think I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm not a fuck up. I think I'm so afraid of dropping the ball because then it would mean that I fucked it up. But what am I actually fucking up? Furthermore, if I drop the ball, does it actually mean I'm fucking up? I don't think so. And that goes back to the original point that she was trying to make. What if I didn't need to actually cut that baggage off? What if I just understood that it was part of the journey? And it was funny because the first thing that came to my mind when I thought of like no longer having to think about that baggage, I was like, oh shit, if I'm not holding any baggage, then I have no excuse. What if I fail anyways? And Brig asked me, what if you fail? And it was interesting because when I asked myself that question, almost every single thing that I have ever wanted in my life, I didn't stop until I got it. If you know me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When I stop to think about like, what if I do fail in this business? The way that I compare, the way that I think about this business is kind of the way that I think about my relationship with Raph. I just don't see a world where I will ever give up on it. I don't see a world where I didn't try everything in my power to make it happen. So what would it look like to no longer see all of that shit as baggage and instead as part of what makes me me? I guess I'm still figuring that out. So stay tuned because I'm getting coached every single week by Brig for the next 6 months. And I'm really interested to see how it changes the way that I think so that I can keep doing the thing that I'm doing, building my business, but maybe it doesn't have to be as hard or feel as heavy as I make it.